Hi,
Hi.
welcome back. With 3.0 right around the corner and with Fugue coming out in less than a week, there's something that's been on my mind for a couple of days now when brainstorming video ideas. RUAN MEI could be falling off soon. Her next rerun banner could have pretty low sales. There are a few factors that are going to affect it, each of these coming from a few different angles. The point of this video isn't to say RUAN MEI is being power crept, that's probably not going to happen, not yet at least, but just to talk about how her value could become a little bit lower, or a lot lower than it is right now. It's also a little bit worrying when a support gets lower value. This already happened with Sparkle since Sunday absolutely clears her in every single situation, and that's way worse when a unit like Jingli Yu becomes lower value. Now of course, as we said, she's not getting power crept, at least not yet, so it's slightly different, but it's still a support unit losing value. Also, we're going to be discussing rumors about certain characters in this video, so just a warning if you want to be completely unspoiled about them, even though some of this rumored stuff is still unconfirmed. So either way, let's stop yapping and let's talk about it. Though before we do start talking about it, this video is sponsored by me. Of course, as some of you may know, I've been uploading daily for the whole of December so far, so you should like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. I would really appreciate all the support to help me out on this journey. You should also join the Express Ryan Discord server for a community where you can find more discussions just like this one. Now let's get on to it. So first things first, and definitely most obviously, Fugue. We all know Fugue is a Super Break support, and I've been seeing more and more people take RUAN MEI out of Super Break teams in favor of putting Fugue in instead. She's a little different than RUAN MEI in some ways, but similar in others as well. She can extend the amount of times enemies are weakness broken for by directly delaying their turns, unlike RUAN MEI who just makes them weakness broken for one extra turn. To increase weakness break efficiency though, she does need E1, and she only increases it for her skill's target. Now a lot of people who are actually playing Break don't have RUAN MEI because she didn't come out at the same time and not everybody expected her to have as much value as she did for Super Break. Now some of these players are of course planning on pulling Fugue instead of replacing Harmony MC, she's replacing RUAN MEI. Her Exo Toughness and Colorless Break benefits Break a lot, and even though Firefly is definitely the most common Super Break DPS, she's not the only one. She's the only one that has zero problem implanting any weaknesses because she directly does it with her skill, unlike someone like Boothill, who still needs his ultimate to implant it. Of course, RUAN MEI's damage increase doesn't actually benefit break damage whatsoever, so when using Boothill's example, Fugue's Colorless Break benefits him way more, at least until he can get enough energy for his burst. Also, Fugue's Exo Toughness helps Boothill gain pocket trickshot stacks slightly faster when there aren't enough enemies like sometimes in the Apocalyptic Shadow, and because Boothill isn't exactly a Super Break DPS, he deals way more damage when actually breaking a toughness, though Exo Toughness heals him deal even more damage. When using Rappa as an example of course another break DPS, then she benefits Rappa even more. Rappa already has Colorless Break, but she breaks non-imaginary weak enemies at 50% the efficiency. With Fugue's skill, that goes back up to 100%, and of course if you're at E1 Fugue, then you also have even more. Basically having E1 Fugue for break teams is going to be like having an extra RUAN MEI skill for your main DPS. Now of course I'm not saying that you can't use both RUAN MEI and Fugue at the same time, you obviously can. You can use Fugue instead of Harmony MC, how Hoyo probably truly intended for you to use her, and switch to Remembrance MC. However, my point with this first paragraph is RUAN MEI is no longer definitively and completely on top as a break support, which definitely lowers her rerun value. At least a little bit in my opinion. Of course, though, we are talking about E1 Fugue a lot here, and RUAN MEI doesn't only have her weakness break efficiency as her only buff. She has 68% damage and 24% all-type resistance penetration with her ult, and 20% defense ignore with her E1. She is still an absolutely insane support as simply a general support you can use everywhere, even if she is slightly outclassed by Robin's action advance. The only time it's really going to matter and affect most players is when you're trying to zero cycle or when you're barely clearing in under 5 cycles, so Robin's action advance is what really saves you. Or of course in FUA teams. However, when talking about her ability as a generalist support, then that may also be challenged as well. Just like her ability as a break support, she may also get knocked off of her second place as a great generalist support. In 3.1 we're getting Tribby, a Quantum Harmony 5-star unit. All the evidence is pointing towards Tribby being another great support, while she is going to have a specific niche she plays really well into, just like Robin having FUA and RUAN MEI having break, which in Tribby's case so far seems like is going to be HP draining or HP manipulation as a whole, as well as buffing up a specific slot in the party and focusing on AoE units as well. We had an early rumor as well about Tribby, saying she actually had all of defense ignore, resistance penetration, and damage increase in her kit, as well as action advance for a specific party slot. That is a pretty insane mix of buffs. She could very well power creep both Robin and RUAN MEI, but so far the popular opinion in the Discord server is she's going to be slightly less effective as a generalist support than both of these two, and isn't going to power creep them, which I do hope so, because not only are they the best support units in the game and it would kind of really suck if they got power crept, but also because they get power crept by a character with a very bad design, which is of course being a goddamn child, but I digress. Even if she doesn't completely power creep either Robin or RUAN MEI, which as I said so far it's popular to think is unlikely, she's still going to be a very effective generalist support, at least for teams focusing on AoE damage, which means, again, RUAN MEI's rerun value could be a lot lower, because those who have both Robin and get Tribby for example, no longer really need to get RUAN MEI. The biggest reason why I always say RUAN MEI and Robin are absolute must-pulls for every account is because they are both the best supports in the game, without any doubt, and you have two teams, and in most cases, like 99.9% of cases, you're not going to be using both of them at the same time. The reason RUAN MEI's pull value specifically is getting lowered by what we've spoken about so far, and not Robin, is because, as I said earlier, RUAN MEI is no longer definitively the top support unit for break teams, as she has some competition with Fugue. I'm also not saying Fugue is undoubtedly the best support, I'm only saying it's no longer definitive who's the best. With the advent of Tribby as well, there's also a contest to who's going to be the second best generalist support too. Either Tribby power creeps both of them and then Robin becomes the second and RUAN MEI becomes the third, or she power creeps or competes with RUAN MEI, and either way her second place is in jeopardy. Or Tribby is just worse, which is honestly the best ending. Robin is obviously in all of these scenarios always the best or second best generalist support, and of course is still the best FUA support as well. So Robin's rerun value is safe where it is in my opinion. Of course there's also the possibility of Super Break falling off in 3.x, which I've obviously been talking about a lot recently as I've been preying on its downfall, but this is not what I wanted. I did not want RUAN MEI to fall off. You probably already know if you've watched any video of mine in the past week, as I'm almost 100% sure I've said this in every single one of them. In 3.1 we're getting Hule in the Apocalyptic Shadow, which will be immune to being broken at least directly by the player. I 100% see the possibility of the devs completely phasing Super Breakout, meaning even where RUAN MEI is competing to be the best support, it's no longer going to be very relevant at all. I do think Super Break is going to be way less useful in 3.x as we probably all do, since it's going to be a meta that's phased out and isn't going to be getting any more upgrades. However, I also definitely think it's not going to be as useless as I've been making out to be lately. It's still going to be pretty damn strong, unless they just fill every game mode with units immune to being broken, which is definitely not going to happen since that's a core mechanic. Either way, even if Super Break stays powerful, what I do know is that it's not going to be as powerful as it was in 2.x. Remembers is going to totally power creep everything break related, and no, there aren't going to be any Remembers big DPS units, at least not for a very long time. While RUAN MEI is still going to be viable as a support unit for Remembrance, not only is she nowhere near as good as Sunday, who is so much better than even Robin, she isn't going to be anywhere near as strong as Robin because Robin is great for Remembrance because of her action advance specifically. Her rerun value simply because of Remembrance, even if Fugue didn't exist, is a lot lower. Now I also want to talk about a way with which RUAN MEI can be preserved because I really like her character. RUAN MEI definitely has a huge place in DOT teams. Jiacho, for example, needs to have either E1 or S1 to definitively be better. And Robin, well, she's Robin, but as we said, you have two teams and nobody's going to give Robin to a DOT team because DOT is dead and it's a waste of a Robin. RUAN MEI has a special place in DOT as well because of her extra weakness break efficiency and break effect buffs, because break DOTs are pretty damn strong and underrated. As I've said in my last video, which you should definitely go check out by the way, Boothill's bleed DOTs he applies when breaking enemies can deal hundreds of thousands of damage. If we can get a unit that really can capitalize upon break DOTs, then RUAN MEI can have an even more solid place with DOT, because of everything she gives to break. Break DOTs would also, as I've mentioned in my previous video, breathe life into another niche playstyle, which would be pretty nice. And that's it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and join the Express Discord server for a community filled with more discussions just like this one. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.